Objectives for today will be to find the surface area of a cone, and the learning targets to know and use the slant height of a cone. Example number 1. First, the formula for surface area of a cone is the following: pi r squared plus pi r L. To find the surface area of this cone, start with the formula. Surface area equals pi r squared plus pi r L. L is the slant height. Plug in what you know. Pi times the radius squared is pi times 3 squared. And then plus pi times 3 and then times 15. Simplify what's in there. 3 squared is 9. And 3 times 15 is 45. You can write it like this: 9 pi plus 45 pi. And simplify it even further. If I have 9 pi's and 45 pi's, then I have 54 pi's altogether. And from there you just have two things to put into your calculator. So you would do 54 times pi to come back with an answer of 169.65 inches squared for the surface area. Example number 2. The surface area is pi r squared plus pi r L. Plug in what you know. Pi times r squared, that would be 5 squared, plus pi times 5 times 20. 5 squared is 25, so you can write it as 25 pi, and then plus 100 pi. Simplify that to be 125 pi. Put that in your calculator. 125 pi equals 392.70 meters squared. Practice number 1. Find the surface area of the cone with a radius of 17 millimeters and a slant height of 30 millimeters. The solution here is to start with the formula. Surface area equals pi r squared plus pi r L. And plug in what you know. Pi times r squared, 17 would go there, as well as here, and then a 30. Simplify. That would be 289 pi plus 510 pi. Add those together to get 799 pi. Multiply that in your calculator to come up with 2,510.13 millimeters squared. Practice number 2. Find the surface area of the cone with radius 8 centimeters and slant height 10 centimeters. The solution for the practice: start with the formula. Surface area equals pi r squared plus pi r L, and then plug in what you know. And simplify that. That would be 64 pi and 80 pi. Simplify that even further to get 144 pi. Multiply 144 by pi to come up with 452.39 centimeters squared. Example number 3. In this example, we're going to have a radius of 4 centimeters and a height of 3 centimeters. We need to find the surface area of the cone, but notice we have the height of the cone and not the slant height. Whenever you're missing the slant height, you must solve for it by using the Pythagorean Theorem. So slant height squared equals 3 squared plus 4 squared. And that gives you a slant height squared of 9 plus 16, which simplifies to 25. To find the slant height, you need the square root of both sides. The square root of 25 is 5. So the slant height is 5 centimeters. Now you can go back with the formula for surface area, which is pi r squared plus pi r L, and solve for the surface area. Plug in what you know. We need a 4 squared there, and a 4 there, and a 5. Simplify it to 16 pi plus 20 pi, which is 36 pi. And in your calculator, figure out what 36 pi is. 36 times pi is 113.10 centimeters squared. Example number 4. In this example, we have a radius of 6 inches and a height of 10 inches. We need to figure out what the surface area is, but we don't have the slant height. In order to find the slant height, we use the Pythagorean Theorem, which would be slant height squared plus 10 squared plus 6 squared. Slant height squared equals 10 squared plus 6 squared. So that is 100 plus 36, which is 136. And find the square root of 136 in your calculator. That should come out to be 11.661 and on out. Do not let that leave your calculator. Keep that in there. Surface area equals pi r squared plus pi r L. And plug in what you know. The radius is 6, and we need it over here as well. But your slant height is 11 point and then something. Leave that in the calculator and hit multiplication by 6 and then multiplication by pi to come up with an answer for simply that left-hand side. Once you get that, it should be 219.8217076, but leave it in your calculator and hit plus and do the left-hand side, but put a left-hand parenthesis in first, and you'll have 36 times pi. And your final answer comes out to be 332.92 inches squared. Practice number 3. Find the surface area of the cone that has a radius of 10 yards and a cone height of 20 yards. The solution for this is to find the slant height first. So slant height squared is going to be 20 squared plus 10 squared. And that is 400 plus 100. Now we need the square root of 500 to get the slant height. And that will be 22 and some decimals. Leave that in your calculator. The formula is surface area equals pi r squared plus pi r L. And plug in what you know. We have 10 for a radius, and it goes there as well, and then the slant height is 22 and some change. Leave that in your calculator and hit the multiplication button, times 10 and then times pi. Leave that in your calculator. That should be 702.4814731. Now hit plus, left-hand parenthesis, and 100 times pi, right-hand parenthesis. You should get a surface area of 1016.7 1.64 yards squared. Practice number 4. Find the surface area of the cone with a radius of 12 meters and a cone height of 25 meters. The solution is to start with the slant height. Slant height squared is 25 squared plus 12 squared. That would be 625 plus 144. Add those together to get 769, and you need the square root of that. The square root of 769 is 27 and some change. We'll leave it there and go back to it in just a second. Leave it in your calculator. The formula is pi r squared plus pi r l. Plug in what you know. The radius is 12, and we're going to need that here again, as well as the slant height. Now, times, hit the times button in your calculator and put 12 and then times pi. That should give you 1045.428387. Hit the plus sign, left-hand parenthesis, and take care of this. That would be 144 times pi. Right-hand parenthesis, and then equals 1,497.82 meters squared.